All right, guys, I don't even know how to make a video like this. I've never had to make a video like this before. Obviously, as you can see, I'm not at the airport. I'm at home. I figured sitting in front of Jack's Challenger 1 was probably the best way to do this video. Unfortunately, if you haven't seen yet, we lost a YouTube Challenger YouTuber, Peter Toth. And unfortunately, this has been, I found out about it last night. Actually, at first, what happened was I saw a post that basically said there was an accident in Canada, and it said Manitoba. And instantly it hit me. They didn't say it was Peter, but I know a little bit about Canada, and I know that Peter always ended his messages on or like when he'd comment on my videos, cheers from Winnipeg. And instantly I was like, wait a minute, like it's a small world, right? But Peter lives up there in Winnipeg, and instantly I thought, gosh, I hope it's not him. For you who don't know, Peter is a YouTuber and a Challenger owner. He has been doing these videos for about 4 years now, where he has been taking a Challenger 2 that he purchased, and he has been rebuilding it and getting his license, which just the last 6 months or so, he's finally wrapped this all up. Approximately 8 days ago, he posted a video of his first flight, which we will be covering in this video. And but for many years, he's been working on this airplane. The reason I feel like I needed to make this video is because actually, with the exception of Challengers being cheaper aircraft to buy, some of Peter's videos and watching how beautiful his airplane was and how much passion he had for it is kind of why I bought a Challenger. Not completely, but like it was definitely a contributing factor. I didn't have a lot of detailed conversations with Peter. It was mostly us commenting on videos. He was always very kind, always very thoughtful. And I know he was an absolute great guy. It is absolutely devastating to hear about his loss. He had a Challenger 2 with a 503 Rotax on floats. So I'm not here to, be an accident reconstructionist. I am not trying to pull the Juan Brown or pilot debrief. I'm not trying to do none of that stuff, because the reality is we don't know what happened to Peter. We do know he was in his Challenger, and we do know he's no longer with us. So I am in this video that I think might have been either what happened or a factor, but these are not from any actual knowledge. There has been nothing except for there was an accident and he passed away in the Challenger. So I think Peter was absolutely awesome, kind-hearted, gentle. If you watch his videos, you just felt like you were there with a family member, and that's why I really enjoyed his videos. He definitely had a passion for that airplane more than anybody I've ever seen on YouTube for their airplane. I mean, he spent so much time just rebuilding. I mean, we're talking 4 years, So again, this video is not to talk bad. If anything, this is to recognize him. And at the end of this video, I actually have something I want to do to kind of pay respect to him. So stick around for that, because it includes you too. People who know Peter and know his videos know that just recently he had just got done getting his license. I don't know how Canada works, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I understand how their licensing works. I know there's ultralights and advanced ultralights and all this other stuff, so I don't know. And that's not really what this video is about. But I know that Peter had worked really hard. He had claimed to have 100 hours of flight time. I believe like 5 hours of that was on floats. His airplane did have floats, but they were amphibious, so it can land on land and or on the water. People in the Challenger world, we always talk about the weight of our airplanes and what the capabilities are with certain engines. The most common engine you find on a Challenger is a Rotax 503 like he had on his Challenger. Unfortunately, there's a lot of debate over, does that make a two-seat airplane a single-seat airplane? Because the 503 with floats, and then you talk about having somebody in the plane. So weight and balance is always going to be an issue in a plane like that. And for the record, like I said, I'm not trying to come up with my accident analysis, because I'm not there. I don't know. That's for the Canadian government to figure out and to release to us. Peter definitely had cameras on it, so I think they'll be able to narrow it down pretty quick. But I do have things that I think might have taken place that are all a possibility. I'm going to start from the least likely and work my way to the one that I think might be the most likely to have happened. The least likely thing I think could have happened, but it's always possible, is structural failure. So Peter had been working on this airplane for the last 4 years. He did do a flight, which we actually got to see, and the first flight, and he had a really rough go at it. But the airplane seemed to hold up pretty well, even though it was adverse conditions for him. So I'm thinking more than likely the airplane didn't have a structural problem, but again, we don't know. The next least likely thing I think that could have possibly have taken place was a medical episode. I don't know anything about Peter's health, but anything can happen when you're flying. And if something happens in a moment's notice and you can't get on the ground, or you're trying to get on the ground, but unfortunately you crash because of maybe a cardiac issue or anxiety or something, that's always a possibility. Although I see it as a very low possibility, it's a possibility nonetheless. So that would be the next in my ladder of things that could have possibly gone wrong. And again, I'm not trying to be these guys. I'm not trying to speculate or throw, oh yeah, this and that. And for the record, I've talked to a good 12 or 13 people today about this whole situation, and everybody kind of lands on the same conclusion, but we need to see the data before we know. In a little bit here, I'm going to show you a video of his first flight, and we're going to kind of watch it and talk about it. And that'll kind of reinforce why I think the number one thing might have been the most common or the most possible. The next thing would just be adverse weather conditions. I have no idea what the weather was like up there. I don't know if you got caught in IMC. I don't know if it was beautiful. This happened on Saturday, the July 26th at midday. So I have no idea. I wasn't able to really find, I don't know how to track those records down, but for all we know, he got hit by a rainstorm and went IMC. It's possible something like that happened. So yeah, I don't know. But the thing that I think might be the most possible would be, because his Challenger was so large and draggy, it had these big floats on it and everything. You'll see when we watch the first video here that on his first flight, he actually had some issues with where he thought he might have been right out of stall. And obviously, if you're at low altitude and you go into a stall spin, and especially in a heavier aircraft, you're probably not going to make it out, unfortunately. So I don't know for sure if this is what happened. Nobody will know. I can assure you, whatever it was, Peter would have done anything to change it. And when I do know more, maybe I'll make another video about it. But for now, I think the best thing we could do is let's watch his first flight. And I'm not going to nitpick it too much, but I want you guys to be able to see that first flight so that you kind of have an understanding of where Peter came from, and just kind of see what happened on his first flight.
Gonna make the radio call and take off, so let's see this.
Wind crest, ultralight India Echo Bravo Kilo is on the active 27. We'll be remaining in the circuit, wind crest.
And here I go, full power. And I'm going to cut to a friend, James, who was standing next to the runway there, and he took a video with his cell phone. Sorry for the orientation, but there it is. That's what it looked like from the ground. Now, you notice a little dip there. Yeah, I pushed forward to gain some airspeed, and I knew there was a bit of wind, so you see the tilt to the right, but then all of a sudden, look at that right wing. Boom. It went up there, and I'm trying to correct. And this is where things went squirrely. There we go, there's a little dip, and up we go, and hold it on the center line, boom, there's that wind, and it just pushed me to the side. Not only did it push me to the side, I started discovering that I had very poor rudder authority. I have the doors on, and even Quad City mentioned that, hey, you put the doors on, you need to add winglets to the tail, which is my next project. And here I am in the turn. Now, let's see what it looks like from behind the cockpit. You'll see just how squirrely it is. This really dramatically shows there's the horizon, and how I am, at this point, I'm starting to fight the airplane. Like, it's just, I can't land. I'm too far down the runway. That's not an option. I need to keep climbing. And I start noticing that my airspeed is, it's just not where it needs to be, because I'm pulling too far back on that stick. And Yeah, well, here, listen in as I mention that.
Holy shit, I'm all over the place. Airspeed. Airspeed.
Yeah, with that, I was noticing my airspeed was getting dangerously close to the stall speed, so I pushed the nose forward. Now, the guys on the runway watching me, they said, "You started losing altitude when you went in that turn." I says, "Yeah, that was deliberate. I pushed that nose down. I needed airspeed." And I wasn't very high off the ground. I was maybe 200 feet. But I needed airspeed because if it kept on bleeding off like it was, I was going to stall and spiral in. Not a good first flight. So the only instrument that I was glancing down at the whole time was my airspeed indicator. I didn't care about altitude. I could see the ground. I knew how high I was. I was high enough. I wasn't going to hit anything. I just needed to keep that airspeed in there. And once I turned kind of downwind with the tail into the wind, it stabilized. You can see from this camera angle how it's pretty stable now. It's not bouncing around, I'm not skating left and right, but it was squirrely to begin with, and to the point where at this point I decided I am not making a second circuit. I'm putting it on the ground, and they're going to find out what the hell's going on here. Why am I fighting this thing? Why am I dancing on the rudder and full aileron deflection to keep it flying straight? And I find out after doing a little more reading that, yeah, there's the winglets that go onto the tail, and in the instructions, thank you, Jason from the Cotton Patch, he forwarded that on to me. It says right in there that if you got the doors on, you need these winglets or you're going to be losing a lot of rudder authority. It'll be overcorrect. Boy, was that an understatement.
Well, guys, as you could see in the video, he had a pretty rough time on his first flight, and a lot of people had reached out to him. I know a handful of them, I'm not going to name drop, but had reached out to him and urged him to maybe take the floats off the plane and fly it with the gears on to get used to it. He had said that transition training wasn't really possible up there because they're finding somebody on a Challenger with floats. Also, with the weight of him and the aircraft and all that stuff, you couldn't really put a CFI in the plane. So I think he felt like he was kind of in a pickle. He really wanted to get flying. He really had this urge to get that airplane flying and to go have adventures, like his channel was named, 2 Aircraft Adventures with Peter Toth. One thing that's really odd was yesterday when I was trying to figure out if this was Peter or not, I clicked on a video and I tapped the video like, this big finger problem, and it went to this spot. And this is what it played.
Anyways, in this particular second flight with these winglets on, well, let's just say that this is not something that I was thinking.
We're crash landing.
Yeah, I'm not going to crash.
And oddly enough, when I heard that, it kind of gave me comfort that maybe it wasn't him, like as if he was telling me that, hey, that wasn't him. That's not going to happen to him. But unfortunately, as we found out later, it was him. And also, I know that his YouTube channel was important to him. I personally don't believe that he put the YouTube channel in front of safety. I think that he was just excited to fly this plane. Matter of fact, I think I can kind of prove the point that he didn't put the channel in front of the safety in the aircraft, because in the last video he made, which oddly enough came out after the accident, because he's utilizing YouTube's ability to schedule a video for a later day and time. But in that video, he actually says, I forgot to turn the front camera on. I think the reality is that he was, sorry, I'm sweating. I think the reality is that he was so focused on the flight. And actually, as you can see from the first flight, I think he was probably a little nervous to do the second and third flight. So now, the thing I want to do for Peter is take a look at this comment Peter left on my video from last week. As you can see, it was really important for Peter to get to that 1,000 subscribers. I looked this afternoon. I know this screenshot says a little less, but I believe he has 919. I don't care if you subscribe to my channel or not. Go to Peter's channel. I'm going to put it in the link in the description below. And let's get him up to 1,000. I know he's not here to enjoy it. And you're probably like, John, that's stupid. Why would we do that if he's not going to be making more videos? Well, there is a reason. Because he did use the schedule format on YouTube, which means there is a possibility that he had in the queue another video for next Sunday. But more importantly, he might not be here physically with us, but I think he's here with us spiritually. And the best thing to do would be show him our love by going over to his channel, and let's get him up over 1,000 or even more. And hopefully his family will see the care and love that we all had, and the thanks that we had from Peter, or for Peter, for all the videos that he made for us. Like I said earlier in the video, he was my inspiration, for partial inspiration, not all of it. Some of it there was other factors, but Peter's videos were definitely, I was looking at his plane and he would do these angles of his plane and it was so streamlined and so beautiful. I absolutely loved his plane. And I thought, man, I can get one like that too. And I ended up with my yellow one, a little rougher, but as you know, mine's different. It's on the gears and a little different than his. His was a very, very high-end Challenger. So if you guys could go do that, I would really appreciate it. And I know Peter would appreciate it too, and his family will see the care and love. This is normally where I say, if you haven't yet, go like, share, subscribe, but I don't really care if you do that in this video. Let's go over to Peter's video and show him some love, and let's keep it positive, guys. We don't know what happened. And we owe that to Peter to at least wait and find out what they come up with. So I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
I'd like to extend my deepest condolences to the friends and family of Peter. Peter's enthusiasm for aviation was infectious, and he will definitely be missed by all of us.
Hey guys, this is Jason from the Cotton Patch. I'm just doing a little memorial tribute to Peter Toth. He's a good friend that I learned on YouTube a lot from. We learned together, we talked a lot together. He's a passionate aviator. Now he's an eternal sky wanderer. So today we honor the life and legacy of Peter, a man whose heart was forever tethered to the sky. Peter was more than just an aviation enthusiast. He was a dreamer, a doer, and a dedicated craftsman to his Challenger. Peter believed that the sky was not a limit, but an invitation. He loved aviation, and he loved his Challenger. More so, he named it after his late mother Edith. Though he has taken his final flight from this world, his spirit remains in the wind that lifts our wings, the hum of the propeller, and every clear blue sky. His legacy will continue to soar in the hearts of those he taught, inspired, and loved. As aviators, we know that goodbye is never truly a goodbye. It's just, I'll see you in the pattern. Peter, may your skies always be smooth, your attitudes high, your soul forever and free. Blue skies and tailwinds, my dear friend. I'll see you on the other side. Rest in peace, Peter.
Hey guys, I was absolutely devastated this morning to hear about the loss of Peter over the weekend. I know his Challenger Echo Bravo Kilo was a rebuild, and it always showcased his impressive technical ability and his passion for flight and adventure. I know the Challenger community is built on sharing knowledge, supporting each other, and I'm proud to be a part of it. So in honor of Peter, let's continue to share knowledge and help those who may be new to the sport. And on behalf of Canadian Challenger pilots, Peter, I know you're going to be missed by a ton of people, buddy.
I just wanted to say that I thought he was an excellent builder, real technical genius kind of guy, and he will be sorely missed in this community. Talk to you later.
Hey, this video goes out to Pete, the Canadian pilot, the Challenger flyer. Jumping the floats on the plane. So found out the last couple of days he was flying his Challenger. Something went wrong. He crashed and he lost his life. So condolences to Pete. Rest in peace, bud. Take care.